Hey, we got more important things going on today.
So this week we're installing a radiator because why not?
Yeah, what was your reasoning behind this that you said to
I
me?
feel like I don't know, it's always been a little sketchy, but I feel like I've always had some cooling issues. Like my coolant temps have always been pretty high. I always feel like I'm burning off coolant, so figured why not get a new one, see if the whole just radiator was you know, maybe just a bad system at this point in its life. So we got a new one, and yeah, that's it.
It's nice and shiny. Where is it? Let's take a
Right
look.
here.
Let's take a look at the product. Ooh,
Alright.
baby.
Product placement. This is eBay. I'm not expecting real performance. It's eBay.
So
Whatever.
what
G
brand
Plus. It's called G Plus. G Plus, I guess. G Plus. But it said it was for the 02 to 07 WRX STI, whatever. So, hey, it should fit. Everything looks like it's gonna line up. Let's just do it.
So for step one, obviously we have to drain the coolant and get what is existing in there out, and we're actually going to be reusing the coolant because
Just flushed it a month ago.
some new
I got more to
stuff
top
out.
it off, but we're just gonna reuse what's already in there because it's literally like brand new.
I guess step one, let's just go ahead and take these mounts off right here, and your good old zip tie that saved the day at some point. Also, our daily reminder, we will be at Import Alliance in Atlanta at the Atlanta Motor Speedway March 30th and 31st. If you guys are going to be there, make sure you guys come find us as well as Calvin. We'll all be down there. I think Calvin's car is going to be in showcase, so we'll be kind of hanging out on the inside, I guess the infield if that's what you want to call it. But we'll be going around. So yeah, if you guys are going down there, I've talked to a couple of you, and actually some people are actually going down this year, so which is really cool. But for us, it's going to be a 1,000-mile trip down, 1,000 miles back. So, but we're making a fun pit stop that maybe we'll just hold off as a secret on the way down because it's going to be really cool and can't wait to share. So, hopefully should be an easy job. It's like we say around here, just a couple bolts and I guess some tubes and some coolant that's going to be seeping out of there, and we're going to be saving that and putting it back in the car with some new H2O. So alright, both mounts are off right there and right there, so next step is to drain the coolant. Alright, this is what we're going to be draining the existing coolant into. It's nice and wide. It's going to be able to catch anything that falls, and just like that. So luckily, since he has no fender and it's off getting painted, we can actually reach the nozzle for the radiator to drain it right through there without getting underneath the car.
That's why I never work with you. When you smoke them and leave them. And don't touch you. Gotta keep
Alright, so radiator is completely disconnected. Just gotta pull it up out of here and get things out of the way. Yep. Oh, you gotta unplug your fans, brother. Alright. She's out. That was easy.
Yeah.
Easy-ish.
Yeah, it was easy.
And we're just going to have to convert the fans from that one to this one, which is going to be interesting because we need to find some hardware for that. That thing is so much lighter than that one. Nice, that's going to look cool.
And that's it.
You know what, we'll link this product below, so if you guys want to pick this up for your car, I'm assuming this might fit with Imprezas too, or just WRXs and STIs.
This would probably fit Imprezas as well.
Yeah. It's like the only shiny thing in the engine bay.
So I don't think I can. I got it. Oh. No. Alright. We're gonna have to pop this thing off. You. Oh. No, wow.
Pop it out.
Wow, okay. Weird. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Take a sip.
Oh, okay. It's just the two. Oh, come on. Oh, they're off just a little bit.
Alright, so what he's doing is sanding down the edge. What he's doing is sanding down the edge of the little nub that goes into the bottom, just so it clears that, like, I mean, it almost fit. You just need to sand like a little bit down. I think we're gonna go to the hardware store tomorrow to get some actual hardware for this, but we can still set it in there, still get all the coolant lines hooked up and everything. We're just gonna need 2 bolts that, or maybe 4 bolts that fit on the top of the fans, but other than that we can kind of just throw it in right now and then come back tomorrow. We're having to trim the tube that goes to the bottom portion of the radiator just because there was a corner that was kind of pinching up just because of the length of it. So I think we had this problem, I remember, when we put the motor back in the first time, that the bottom one was kind of like pinched really weirdly. So trimming it down so that it gives the tube enough room to extend and pull itself out a little bit more. So we're only taking off like this much. Gonna go test fit it, and then you can always trim more if you need to. Luckily, I remembered that I have this whole thing of hardware, so we actually did find all the hardware that we need for the fans, so everything is bolted up. The last 2 things that we have to do is get a hose clamp for that side and one for over there, which both of them are super tiny. We only have big ones around here, so we don't want to mess up the sizing. So tomorrow we're going to come back, fill it up, and let it run. But for tonight, it's in, it's done, everything's bolted up. Yep. Then tomorrow's just fill her up, and that's it. I mean, we gotta
put it down on the ground too.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh, okay. I'll just be going.
See, dude. All right, it's now the next day. We got the hose clamps that we needed today, as well as we picked up a big funnel that we're going to be using to kind of burp the system as it turns on and get everything washing through there. Other than that, we're also going to be putting on his carbon fiber exhaust shield that we got from RPG Carbon. So thank you guys so much once again. We will link their products and their website down below if you want to pick up one for your car. It is the coolest thing that I think one of the favorite parts that we put on the car, and it's like a 5-minute install, and they make like a ton of different parts that are carbon fiber and fiberglass for your car, so make sure you guys go check them out. Here's our big funnel that we're going to be using to do this. So we tried to look for the burping kit at AutoZone, but they did not have it, so this is the next best thing. I mean, it'll work. Just the other one has a little fancy thing where you just close it up so that any of the excess stuff you have on top will just come out instead of
I'm thinking Harbor Freight's the place to go for that. Pretty sure that's where you can get it. But I mean, as long as you get the coolant in there, that's all that really matters. So like we mentioned earlier, we picked up some hose clamps. So we're gonna be putting those on the 2 areas that we needed them.
Alright, so the last couple things that we have to do before we leave for Atlanta, I'm going to kind of go through like the short list of things that we have to do for my car and then his car. For my car, I got to send it back off to the alignment shop because my one wheel is sitting out too far. Everywhere else around the other 3 sit perfect and they're flush, they look good, nothing rubs. Just that one side in the rear rubs, so I got to send it back over. My trunk is currently getting painted as we speak, and we're going to be picking that up in the next few days, so that'll be done. We have to go over to Greg's shop to wrap my roof with a gloss black wrap, which I already have, so we're going to go over there, wrap that up. And then I think that's pretty much it for my car. There's a couple other little things, like I want to try and get that dent out of my fender, and maybe throw some touch-up paint on there, and then just clean the car like to a really good amount. As far as his car, we have to do the coilovers, some other suspension pieces, pretty much the same process that we went through with my car, but it's kind of crunch time right now, so we got to get those things done. We have about, let's see, today's the 10th? Today is March 10th. We leave the night of March 26th, so we have 16 days to get all of his car done, the last couple things on my car done. You got to get your wheels in and your tires.
Wheels and tires. Get in alignment. Get the tires mounted to the wheels. Get those balanced. I got a lot to do.
I think we'll pull it off.
I think it'll happen, but it'll be a nice little crunch time.
I kind of like this though. It's like that build up is going to be. It's going to be way more satisfying when the car's done going down the road.
I just hope that it all works out how we would like to, in the fact of we'll be stressing, nothing goes wrong, but we get it all done just right before, and it works. Because if it's like everything's working and then one thing goes wrong, then that'll kind of suck. Okay, so we just filled it up. We fixed our little crisis that we were having. So my bottom hose to the radiator was leaking. All it was is that the clamp wasn't close enough to the front, like where it connects to the intercooler. And what it was is the fan shroud kind of sat a little bit, I mean, it doesn't sit too low, but the way it sat, I couldn't get the hose clamp close enough to the front, or like to the intercooler, so it was creating a leak right there instead of kind of just smoothly flowing through the tubes, if that made any sense at all. Seems to have eliminated the problem. We've got it all pretty much filled now. We're gonna start it so we can just kind of let it get any last air bubbles out.
While we're at it, before we make this trip, we're also going to be replacing another hose clamp that is going to be going onto the left side crankcase breather. We did this on my car when we had the valve cover replacement, so his has been leaking kind of because it has no clamp, so we're going to go ahead and put a clamp
See what I mean?
on that side.
Smarter, not harder.
There you go.
Now I just
Oh, I got you. Now I see what you're talking about. Yeah. All right, topping it off one more time before we start it, as it's been sitting there for like 10 minutes or so. Make sure for the Subaru you're using Subaru coolant. That is one thing.
This one, if you get this one, the green one is not mixed. It's just coolant, so that's why we had to do that 50-50. You can get a more expensive one that's blue, and that should be a pre-mixed, but this one's not mixed, so you got to do the mix yourself. Make sure when you buy it, you know what you're getting, because if you just filled it up with just this, I don't know what the side effects are, but it's not mixed, so you got to mix it.
Here we go, mate.
And it is now that time to get started on the exhaust shield, so I think we're going to push the car a little bit more forward so we have some more space, and then we're going to start drilling the holes, get the thing lined up. It's going to be the same process that we did mine, and it probably will take us
just push it out.
Maybe 5 minutes. Tools you're going to need is a rivet gun or rivet popper, and then obviously some rivets. And also we have a drill that's going to be drilling the pilot holes for this thing, and then we pop them out with the rivet gun.
So I think it's kind of important to clean the surface before I put it on, especially being in an area where they're salting the roads, and I got a lot of like road grime and road salt on the car. I don't really want that under the exhaust shield after it's on, just, you know, just for purposes. So I feel like it's important that we're going to clean that off and then get it installed. Today we're using Mother's California Gold Instant Detailer Unmatched Speed and Gloss. I haven't used this before, so it'll be cool to see how it works. Not that we're using it on a nice area, but I mean, you know, it's always nice to use a new detailer. So, excuse me. Do they not know?
They don't even know what garage they're looking at. I mean, this is not the most impressive one, but
yeah, but we're trying to get.
We do good work out of here.
So this one seems to be a little bit more difficult to fit up, but what I found is working it from the right side to the left, getting it kind of pressed up and in, is the way we're gonna have to do this. So one of us is gonna have to be holding it tight to the car while the other drills the hole. Then we're gonna hold it there, pop a rivet in, move to the next spot, drill it, pop the rivet, and so on and so forth until this is on there nice and secure. There you go. Wow. That's in there. Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, now all you need is the RPG gurney flap for your STI wing. Ooh.
That's a good sight.
Yep. Alright, that is going to conclude today's prep for our trip. Or basically, this is just prepping the car for like what you want it to look like.
It's an overall like just revamp of the whole car, but essentially it's prep for IA because that's what the look that we want, that's what we want it for. We want it done by then.
Yeah.
But it will look like that for future purposes.
If you guys aren't following our social media, go on Instagram and follow us on there. It's where we post a lot of day-to-day stuff, so in between the videos there's a lot going on that's not going to make it in the full video. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video getting ready for our trip. Peace out.